Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari. Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana. Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana. Jaya Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jyam Vishwapad Paramahamsa Prahlada Ashtottara Shadasri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder-Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jyam Vishwapad Paramahamsa Prahlada Ashtottara Shadasri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Thakur Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananda Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। जय ग्रंथ श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada की जय। Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 23, entitled The Demigods Regain the Heavenly Planets. Verse number 7 and 8. Verse number 7. Yatpada padmamakaranda nishevanena brahmadaya sharanada sunvate vibhuti kasmatoyam kusrutaya khalayo nayaste Dakshinya drishti padavim bhavata pranitaha Yat pada padma makaranta nishevanena Brahmadaya sharanasnuvate vibhutihi Kasmadvayam kusrutaya khalayo nayaste. Dakshinya drishti padavim bhavata pravinitaha. Yat pada patma makaranda nishevanena. Brahmadayas charanadashnuvate vibhuti. Kasmadvayam kusrutaya khalayo nayaste. Dakshinya drishti padavim bhavata pranitaha. Yat pada patma makaranda nishevanena. Brahmadaya sharanashnuvate vibhuti. Kasmadvayam kusrutaya khalayo nayaste. Dakshinya drishti padavim bhavata pranitaha. Yat pada patma makaranda nishevanena. Brahmadaya sharanadashanute vibhuti. Kasmadvayam kusrutaya khalayo nayaste. Dakshinya drishti padavim bhavata pranita. Yat pada patma makaranta nishevanena. Brahmadaya sharanadashnuvate vibhuti. Kasmadvayam kusrutaya khalayo nayaste. Dakshinya drishti padavim bhavata pranitaha. Yat pada patma makaranda nishevanena. Brahmadaya sharanadashanuvate vibhuti. Kasmadvayam kusrutaya khalayo nayaste. Dakshinya drishti padavim bhavata pranitaha. Go to a translation responsibly, please. Yat, of whom, pada patma, of the lotus flower of the feet, makaranda, of the honey, nishevanena, by tasting the sweetness of rendering service. Brahma adayaha, great personalities like Lord Brahma. Sharanada, O my Lord, supreme shelter of everyone. Ashnuvate, enjoy. Vibhutihi, benedictions given by you. Kasmat, how? Vayam, we. Kusrutayaha, all the rocks and thieves. Khalayoneyaha, born of an envious dynasty, namely that of the demons. Te, those asuras, Dakshinya Drishti Padavim, the position bestowed by the merciful glance. Bhavataha, of your Lordship. Pranitaha, have achieved. O supreme shelter of everyone, great personalities like Brahma enjoy the perfection simply by tasting the honey of rendering service at your lotus feet. But as for us, who are all rocks and debauchees, born of an envious family of demons, how have we received your mercy? It has been possible only because your mercy is causeless. Verse 8. Chitram tavehitamaho mitayogamaya lila visrishta bhuvanasya visharadasya sarvatmana samadrisho vishamasvabhavo bhakta priyo yadasi kalpataru svabhavaha. O my Lord, your pastimes are all wonderfully performed by your inconceivable spiritual energy. And by her perverted reflection, the material energy, you have created all the universes. As the supersoul of all living entities, you are aware of everything and therefore you are certainly equal toward everyone. Nonetheless, you favor your devotees. This is not partiality, however, for your characteristic is just like that of a desire tree which yields everything according to one's desire. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 9:29, Samoham sarva bhuteshu na me dveshyosti na priyaha na bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is certainly equal toward all living entities, but a devotee who fully surrenders at the lotus feet of the Lord is different from a non-devotee. In other words, everyone can take shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord to enjoy equal benedictions from the Lord, but non-devotees do not do so, and therefore they suffer the consequences created by the material energy. We can understand this fact by a simple example. The king or government is equal to all citizens. Therefore, if a citizen capable of receiving special favor from the government is offered such favors, this does not mean that the government is partial. One who knows how to receive favors from the authority can receive them, but one who does not neglect these favors and one who knows how to receive favors from the authority can receive them, but one who does not neglect these favors and does not receive them. There are two classes of men, the demons and the demigods. The demigods are fully aware of the Supreme Lord's position and therefore they are obedient to him. But even if demons know about the supremacy of the Lord, they purposely defy his authority. Therefore, the Lord makes distinctions according to the mentality of the living being. But otherwise, he is equal to everyone. Like a desire tree, the Lord fulfills the desires of one who takes shelter of him. But one who does not take such shelter is distinct from the surrendered soul. One who takes shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord is favored by the Lord, regardless of whether such a person is a demon or a demigod. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। भूतैर्महद्भिर्य इमा पुरो विभु निर्मायशेते यदमूष पुरुष भुङ्क्ते गुणान् षोडश षोडशात्मकः सोऽलङ्कृशिष्ट भगवान् वचांसि मे। Hare Krishna. Here, who is speaking? Are you sure? No, Prahlada Maharaj. So here, Prahlada Maharaj has come to the place where Bali Maharaj was being arrested and tied by the Lord using Varuna Pasha. And by the request and prayers of Prahlada Maharaj, his grandson Bali Maharaj has been released from the arrest. And now Prahlada Maharaj offers his prayers, and these are very beautiful prayers. And here in the verse 7, Prahlada Maharaj says, O supreme shelter of everyone, great personalities like Brahma enjoy the perfection simply by tasting the honey of rendering service at your lotus feet. And then he compares his position to, or he compares his position to the demigods, and he presents his humble position as coming from a demoniac family, right? So we can see in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam that many devotees do such kind of comparative study, comparing themselves to devotees. Okay. Comparative study that they consider their position, the mercy that received, and they compare to other devotees. So here, the comparison is to Lord Brahma. He is the top demigod. And who is speaking? Prahlada Maharaj. Now, Prahlada Maharaj has already made such a comparison in the previous canto, in the 7th canto, in the 9th chapter, where he offers his prayers to Lord Narasimhadev. When we see, if you want to compare, you have to compare who is on the top level. So general comparison is made between a devotee and Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lakshmi Devi, etc. Because they are setting the standard of devotional service. Lakshmi Devi is the consort of the Lord. Lord Brahma is the top demigod here. And Lord Shiva, a top pure devotee. Vaishnavanam Yadha Shambhu. So such comparison is made to make the point. So in the 7th canto, chapter 9, Prahlada Maharaj says, I received the mercy which Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, or Lakshmi Devi never received. So such kind of comparisons, are they just a statement for the sake of it? Or is there any meaning behind it? Let's consider when Prahlada Maharaj compares himself to Brahma, Shiva and Lakshmi Devi, and he makes a statement that the mercy that I received, even Lakshmi Devi didn't receive, nor Brahma, nor Shiva. Is it true? What mercy did Prahlad receive? Okay, very good point. The incarnation, the Lord himself personally appeared as Stambha Putra. Stambha Putra means son of the pillar. Son of the pillar. So the Lord incarnated from a pillar. So that is very special, very unique. The Lord personally appeared to protect his devotee. Second, in this particular context, if you see, none of other great devotees could pacify the Lord, nor could they go very near the Supreme Lord. Shiva couldn't go near the Lord. He did offer his prayers. Indeed, Brahma offered his prayers, but they couldn't go near Narasimhadev. Even Lakshmi Devi couldn't go near Narasimhadev. Only Prahlad could go near Narasimhadev. And the special mercy that he received, Yenme arpida shirasi patmakara prasada. Yenme shirasi todarpida patmakara prasada. Todarpida patmakara prasada. Patmakara, your lotus feet, prasada. The mercy of the touch of your lotus hand. So, no one could, all these demigods and his own consort couldn't go near the Lord, nor could they pacify the Lord, but Prahlad could do that. And not only that, the Lord actually put his hand on his head. It is mentioned that it's not just he took him. Out of love, he took him and he was practically caressing him and kissing him and licking him. So much of love that Prahlada Maharaj received from Narasimhadev. Narasimhadev showed so much of mercy to Prahlada Maharaj, whereas others couldn't. So it's a reality. Why is it so? Why Prahlad got such a mercy and none of them, none of these great devotees, why didn't they receive that mercy, whereas Prahlad received that mercy? Any idea? Yeah, okay, Prahlad was constantly thinking about the Lord. Can you say that Lakshmi Devi was not constantly thinking about the Lord? Or Lord Shiva was not constantly thinking about the Lord? Yes. Yes, every devotee get particular reciprocation. So why here Prahlad got this special reciprocation? That's true, but here Prahlad is telling even Lakshmi Devi didn't receive this reciprocation. Yeah, it won't be the same, but there is a comparison here. That's the point I am trying to make. There is a comparison. Prahlad is comparing. The reason is the Acharya's comments that Lakshmi Devi didn't have to go through such suffering. She was not tortured, nor Brahma, nor Shiva. But Prahlad had to go through that. Even though he's a liberated soul, still he had to go through that. And so the Lord was showing special favor in this pastime. So why? Lakshmi Devi is an eternal consort of the Lord, but she was covered by the Leela Shakti. So she couldn't go near the Lord. She was also feeling fear. She was fearful. And there is no fear in the spiritual world, and spiritual personalities shouldn't have fear in that sense. But what he said is right, she was going through a different experience altogether. Of course, it's a devotional ecstasy, but it's a different experience altogether. But at this point, Prahlad was particularly favored by the Lord to show what my devotees can do and what will I do for my devotee, his reciprocation, and what devotees can do. Because all this time Prahlad only thought about the Lord, even when he was being tortured in all different possible ways. Still, he was just thinking about the Lord. Because of that surrender, and that comes in this verse as well, purport, because of that surrender, the Lord reciprocated. So he got the Padmakara Prasada. So it is very, very special. And here, that's why it is mentioned, Brahma also got the mercy of the Lord. Indeed, the Lord Brahma worshipped the lotus feet of the Lord, and indeed, Lord reciprocated to Brahma, not in this pastime specifically. Right? Not in this pastime. Even in the beginning of creation, Brahma had darshan of the Supreme Lord. He saw Vaikuntha, and it is mentioned, our Brahma also saw Goloka Vrindavan. He had that relationship with the Supreme Lord, and that's why he chanted the Brahma Samhita. The 5th chapter of Brahma Samhita we hear. There is a whole description of Goloka Vrindavan. We hear, every step is a dance, every word is a song. It's coming from Brahma's prayers in Brahma Samhita. So, yes, they also had the reciprocation. However, here, Prahlada Maharaj is making this point that what mercy we received. Not only me, all my dynasty. All my dynasty. Now see, Bali Maharaj, he also received mercy of the Lord. What mercy he received? Exactly. The Lord, first of all, the Lord gave himself to Bali Maharaj. He is now released from the Varuna Pasha, the rope of Varuna, and the Lord gave himself to Bali Maharaj, and Bali Maharaj is in ecstasy. And now we'll see that Bali Maharaj is going down to the Sutala planet, and in the Sutala planet, he has always association of the Supreme Lord. So Sutala planet is down, right? We are in Bhuloka, then there is Atala, Vitala, Sutala, then I think Rasatala, Talatala, Patala, so all this, lower planetary system. In Sutala is even more opulent than Indra's planet. So first of all, he gave a very opulent place, which Bali Maharaj is not so much interested now. And not only that, the Lord is personally present there. So this kind of mercy, can we see? Did Brahma receive? No. Lord Shiva? No. So that's why it's mentioned that even Brahma received what? Here it's mentioned he received perfection. If you see the verse 8, it's mentioned he received perfection through service at the lotus feet of the Lord. In that purport, Vishwanath Chakravarti mentions the interesting point. Here, Prahlada Maharaj is making the point that even though Lord Brahma served the lotus feet of the Lord, he actually received all the vibhutis, all the opulences, being in Brahma's planet. But what we have received, we are demons, we are from the demoniac families, they are not demons, but they are from the demoniac family. Still, what we received is far superior because we are now pure devotees and we have the association of the Lord. So that is the point he's making. So there are two aspects. So in the translation directly in the verse 7, it is mentioned, okay, they received, enjoy their perfection. So Vishwanath Chakravarti elaborate that perfection is referring to the opulences, because the Sanskrit is vibhutihi, all different kinds of opulences. So Brahma received all the opulences, but not what we have received, even though we are from the demoniac family. And then moves to the next verse, which is verse 8, where it is mentioned that, oh Lord, you are actually equal to everyone. The Lord is equal to everyone. So this is a topic that comes again and again in scriptures. Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita 9:21, Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu. In the previous canto, chapter 1 is, 7th canto, chapter 1 is, Krishna is equal to everyone. So this it's a big issue. If you see how the Lord is equal to everyone, people see that the Lord is partial to everyone. This was the problem of Hiranyakashipu after the death of Hiranyaksha. Now the Paramatma, Vishnu, is supposed to be equal to everyone. He also knew Bhagavad Gita. Who? Hiranyakashipu. He knew Samoham Sarvabhuteshu. He knew Upatrishta Anumantascha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwaram. He knew these verses, apparently. So he's telling, Vishnu, Paramatma is supposed to be equal to everyone. But see what Vishnu has done. He has killed my brother Hiranyaksha. He's simply acting as a puppet in the hands of the demigods. Why? The demigods are giving some oblation, some offerings. They are doing some sacrifices for the Prahlada of the Lord and accepting all those. Now Vishnu has become partial. The Paramatma is supposed to be impartial, but now he has become partial. So he is just like kids. If you give some lollies and toffees, they can do anything for you. Similarly, the Lord has become partial. This was the complaint of Hiranyakashipu, and so he had this strategy how to weaken Vishnu and finally kill him by destroying Vedic culture, Brahmanas, cows, etc. Then there won't be any oblations and the demigods will become weaker. When the Lord's supporters become weaker, he will also become weak. So this is the strategy of Hiranyakashipu. And in that chapter it is mentioned, how is it possible that the Lord is favoring the demigods? That question arises very strongly. We can see that sometimes the demons are getting powerful and the demigods are praying and the Lord comes and he kills the demons. How is it possible? Why is it so? So to explain, the whole chapter is there, how Krishna is equal to everyone. The Lord is ready to give his mercy even to demons. So that's where the question arises. How did Shishupala receive the mercy of the Lord? Shishupala didn't do any devotion service. What did he do? He was blaspheming the Lord. Even when he was a child, on the lap of the mother, ma, crying. Instead of that, what was he doing? He was blaspheming Krishna. Can you imagine? As a child, when he started speaking, devotees, children, you expect, they say, Gauranga, Nityananda, Hare Krishna, something speaks and the parents are very excited. Whatever comes from the mouth, yes, it is God's names, But here, Shishupal's mother was expecting that, but he started blaspheming from the early childhood. So she was very much concerned, and we know the pastime. And then Krishna had a deal 100 times continuously. If he blasphemes, then he will get killed. And we know in the Rajasuya sacrifice, Shishupal started blaspheming the Lord, and at a particular time where if he blasphemes and if he gets killed, he knows that the sacrifice will be ruined. So all the efforts which were put by the Pandavas and the other devotees, everything will be in vain. So he knew that. He wanted to do that. But the Lord did it very carefully using Sudarshan Chakra. He killed him using Sudarshan Chakra, but not even a drop of blood fell anywhere. Rather, the head flew in the sky and went. But interestingly, they could see that the soul of Shishupal merging into the body of the Lord. So this was an amazing experience. That's how they concluded. He received Sayujya Mukti. He received Sayujya Mukti. So how is it possible? And then it is explained that if someone thinks about the Lord with sneha, with love, bhaya, out of fear, vairānubandhena, or with enmity, still they get benefited. Liberation is guaranteed in whichever capacity they think about the Lord. We know that. Kamsa received mercy by thinking about the Lord in fear. That's right. In fear. And Shishupal in enmity. Gopis in love. So in this way, in any capacity, if one thinks about the Lord, one receives the mercy. And this is the nature of the Absolute. This is the very nature of the Absolute. In whichever way we approach the Lord, we receive the mercy. Of course, it is not recommended to have Viparita Bhakti. It has to be Anukulyena Krishna Anushilnam. It has to be direct, pleasing to the Lord, not the other way around. Because it is too difficult. That's what Narada Muni says. Narada Muni says, if I had bhakti in the same intensity as that of the demons. This is the prayer of Narada Muni. So he's telling, the demons, apparently they have more intensity in their thoughts about the Lord, in an inimical mode, of course, but I don't have that intensity. Out of humility he's speaking. But it is very difficult to be a demon and go back home back to Godhead. The devotee is easier because the demons, you had to be otherwise on the capacity of Hiranyaksha or Hiranyakashipu. They are indeed Parshadas of the Lord, associates of the Lord. So it's very difficult to come to that position. Very, very powerful. Otherwise, to kill the demons, Krishna doesn't need anything. Whereas, to give mercy, Krishna is ready to give mercy to any devotee, because as it is mentioned in this purport, the Lord will reciprocate to the surrender, to the devotion, not based on one's background, whether from whatever background, doesn't matter to the Lord. If there is surrender, the Lord is ready to reciprocate. So, the Lord is equal to everyone. And there are many examples which are given. The Lord is equal to everyone. We know Lord as Paramatma is situated in the heart, and He reciprocates according to the desire. There are different systems. Somebody is not a devotee. What is the system through which the Lord reciprocates? There is a system there. There is a fair system of reciprocation. Not directly. That's called the system of karma. The Lord reciprocates. Not directly, but He has a system. You do something, you will get a reaction. And it is very just system. We think it's not just, but it's very just. To the finest details. Up to the thought, up to the action, up to the words, everything is taken care. Because the Lord is a witness, upadrishta, anumantasya. So that is taken care. And otherwise, how the Lord reciprocates? The Lord reciprocates to everyone, to all the desires and all activities, all thoughts, words, everything. The Lord is reciprocating, no problem. At the same time, the Lord is not equal to everyone. The Lord is impartial, but the Lord is partial. Is He partial? This verse is telling. So, this is not partiality, you see. Here, nonetheless, you favor your devotees. The Lord is favoring His devotees. We can see the Lord is favoring His devotees. Is that partiality? Yes, in one level, yes, it is partiality. But on the other level, it is not partiality. So to explain that, there are different examples given. Say here, the example is given of the desire tree. You are kalpataru svabhavaha. Kalpataru svabhava. Your svabhava, your nature is just as of a kalpataru. So if you go to a kalpataru, a desire fulfilling tree, you ask for $1. So the desire fulfilling tree will give $1. If you go and ask for 1,000,000, kalpataru will give 1,000,000. But if you go to the kalpataru and ask, I want to go back home, back to Godhead, then kalpataru will give that. But who is that kalpataru? That is the Lord. Only Lord can give. Or the devotees. Vancha kalpataru pesya. No one else can give. They can give. But it depends on the desire of one who is praying, one who is going after. So this is up to the individual. So now you cannot blame kalpataru. You gave me only $1 and you gave 1,000,000 for someone. You cannot blame the kalpataru because it is not the problem of kalpataru, it is our problem. Similarly, if you go to a teacher, if you are asking more questions in a classroom, one person is going even after the class asking many questions to the teacher gives answers and gives more information. So the teacher is not being partial, right? It's up to the student. Similarly, if there is rain, it's up to us what vessel or a tank or a pond to collect water. It's not, we cannot blame the rain. It's up to us. So what we want, that we can collect. So this is the point that's been made. So this is why the Lord can ultimately, He is partial, but at the same time, He is impartial. And that's the reason the Lord is happy to give His partiality to everyone impartially. The Lord wants to favor to everyone. He wants to be partial to everyone. He wants to be partial to everyone. But he will give that impartially. You want my favor? Do I want to be partial to you? Yes, I will do that. So the Lord is ready to be partial, or the Lord is ready to give special favor to everyone, all the living entities. And he is giving that without any discrimination. That is Bhagavad Gita. The Lord is giving Bhagavad Gita to everyone. If someone wants, can accept. If not, will not get the benefit. So that is not the partiality of the Lord. Rather, the Lord is ready to give his mercy to everyone, but it depends on the seeker. It depends on the individual living entity's free will. Right? So on one level, as Paramatma, we can see that the Lord is neutral. Upadrishta, Anumanta, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara. Generally sanctioning karma, okay? Whatever karma, according to the karma, what happens. That's it. But that is not the treatment for the devotees. So as Krishna, not just as Paramatma, as the Upadrishta, Anumanta, as the neutral agent, the Lord is actively involved in the lives of devotees. So that's the difference between reciprocating in neutrality as Paramatma or as Krishna. Because Krishna is partial. He wants to help his devotees. He wants to favor his devotees. And when we try to understand the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, it's even higher. Even though we are not asking for the mercy, Lord Chaitanya is giving that mercy. Kalpataru, here it is mentioned, Kalpataru Swabhava in the verse 8. Kalpataru Swabhava. The Lord is reciprocating just as a Kalpataru. What we are desiring, the Lord is giving. But the Lord Chaitanya is giving whatever we are not even desiring. Isn't it? Did we come to here, wherever you are, we are in Australia, for example. I didn't come to Australia expecting the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, mercy of Krishna. I didn't come here. How many of you planned, I want to be a devotee of the Lord and I am seeking that mercy. Where can I get the association of the devotees? And that's why I came to this world and seeking for the association of the devotees. No. We got the association of the devotees. So this is, Kalpataru is according to the desire, and Lord Chaitanya is, even if you don't desire, the Lord is ready to give. So this is the speciality of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Chaitanya's devotees. So this is very, very special. Srila Prabhupada mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita purport that the Lord is telling, don't disturb people who are averse to devotional service. Leave them alone. Let them be peaceful. But devotees want to give mercy even to such people. Somehow or other. They don't even know that they are engaged in devotional service, but the devotees give mercy. That is prasadam distribution. No one has ever complained about prasadam, generally. Right? No complaints about prasadam. There can be arguments about the philosophy or the practices, but in terms of prasadam, we are all on the equal page, same page. No problem. Everyone accepts. So this is a mercy of the Lord. Harinam. It depends on what. Even just seeing the devotees, that in itself is a mercy. If you go to workplaces, people do appreciate devotees. You are special. You are something different. In school, you are different. If you behave nicely as devotees, then people do appreciate. Even the teachers appreciate. Right? It happens. Sometimes. Okay, good. So that's how it is. So there is appreciation. So by that, they are receiving the mercy of the Lord. As it's mentioned in Nectar of Devotion, just by seeing the tilak, people are getting purified. So this is mercy of the Lord. We had the Rath Yatra. People were not really asking for mercy, but seeing the Rath cart, it's mentioned all sinful reactions are getting burnt. Liberation at doorstep. How is it possible? Mercy of the Lord. People are not asking. So this is the extra mercy of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. We had Nityananda Trayodasi, very special festival for us, because through that we can get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So it's a preparatory program to receive the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, which is going to come out 14th of March, very soon. In the pastime of Lord Chaitanya, we know the pastime of Prakashananda Saraswati, who was making a fun of devotees and specifically making fun of Lord Chaitanya. What is the sannyasi doing? Just chanting and dancing. He looks like a sahajya, looks like a bhavuka, just a sentimentalist. This is not meant to be the behavior of a sannyasi. He must study Vedanta, must be sober, discuss Vedanta, must be intellectual, and that's about it. Don't do all this chanting and dancing, putting a show on the street. And he was criticizing. And some devotees, they couldn't tolerate this. Even Tapan Mishra and other Brahmanas, they couldn't tolerate this. They desired that all these Mayavadi sannyasis, including Prakashananda Saraswati, become devotees. All these Mayavadi sannyasis, Prakashananda Saraswati, all this group of Mayavadis, let them all become devotees. That was the desire of Tapan Mishra and other devotees in Varanasi. And the Lord reciprocated to that. Can you imagine? The Lord reciprocated to that. So this is our position. We are now devotees because some other devotees desired. They prayed to the Lord that let these people come to you. Isn't it? So that is the beginning of even our devotion life. That someone else actually prayed for us. It's not our qualification. Someone else actually prayed. Let these devotees come up. Let them become devotees. We are trying to give the mercy and let them be connected to the Lord. So we can always see how devotee association is so important. And so we cannot take anything for granted. We cannot take anything for granted. These prayers are prayers of great humility. Prahlada Maharaj as well as Bali Maharaj, they are praying with utmost humility. They are pure devotees. Still they are considering we are from the demoniac background. Can you imagine Prahlada Maharaj? For him, the Lord personally appeared. When? Long time back. Right? Now he has a grandson. Previously Prahlada was just a 5-year-old boy. That time the Lord came, appeared. He saw the Supreme Lord. Can you imagine seeing the Supreme Lord directly? And the Lord in action. He watched the whole fight. There is no theoretical element here. He watched everything. And so he can be proud, I'm a pure devotee. He's still in front of his grandson, in front of the Lord, in front of the demigods, in front of the devotees. He's telling, we are from such a demoniac background. I'm sure in the kingdom of Prahlada Maharaj, devotees will be chanting, he's a pure devotee. Now everyone will be a devotee. Still, he is reflecting on his background as a demon. So see, the humility. And he is not taking devotion service for granted. He's thinking it's such a great opportunity. He is appreciating that shelter of the Lord. So this is what we also need to do. We can never take devotion service. We can never take association of the devotees for granted. We will not take this for granted when we consider that we don't really deserve it. If we meditate on that, I don't really deserve it, then we see it as very valuable. When you reflect on this point, look, I came with nothing. Basically, I didn't know anything about devotion service. And it was by the mercy of the devotees that now I am chanting and practicing. When you think that I don't really deserve, then we don't take it for granted. Rather, we become more grateful, and also then we can be in our humble position. And we need to meditate on this. So that's what we can see from pure devotees like Prahlada Maharaj. Still praying on that platform of utmost humility. And that is a reflection of Prema Bhakti. That's a reflection of pure devotion service. So the pure devotion service and humility go hand in hand. When the real love for the Lord develops, then the real humility develops. So we can at least practice this by considering ourselves not qualified, not deserving. And then it is much easier for us. So these are very classic prayers. And we can see in the verse 8 more about the Kalpataru Svabhava. The Lord is showing his position as a Kalpataru. He reciprocates to the desire of the devotees. And when it comes to Lord Chaitanya, he is ready to give even more than what we desire or deserve, of course. So with this, I stop here and see if there are any questions or comments. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you for the class, Prabhu. In the Ishopanishad, it says the Lord is the self-sufficient philosopher, fulfilling everyone's desires since time immemorial.
Yes.
So that applies to everyone, not just devotees. So how is the Lord fulfilling even like the non-devotees' desires?
Yeah. So there is a system for non-devotees, as we discussed. What is the system for non-devotees? It's called karma. For non-devotees, they're going through the karma. And for devotees, yes, we have plenty of karma we are carrying, but the Lord's treatment is different. The Lord takes a devotee's karma and He uses that karma for our upliftment. He uses that karma to bring us closer to Krishna. So He will not use the karma as it is. Rather, He can add or subtract. It's up to Him. He will do what. So that's the reason it is mentioned for devotees who are practicing according to the sincerity of our practice, we are out of karma. That's the meaning. It's not that we will not go through difficulties. We will go through the difficulties. But for a devotee, it is not just karma, it is hand of the Lord. Again, that is Padmakara Prasada. It can be difficult for us, but it is Padmakara Prasada. It is the touch of the lotus hand of the Lord. So two systems. For non-devotees, it is karma. The Lord is reciprocating. If one deserves, the Lord will give. There is no problem. So that's why material desires, everything is getting fulfilled. So many people have so many desires, they are getting fulfilled. How is it happening? Prabhupada asked the question, does an elephant pray in the forest for food? No, he is eating, all of us together, what we can eat for 1 month, he can eat in 1 day. Just big, just eating like that. Where is it coming from? So the Lord is providing. So that's how He is reciprocating to non-devotees. Through a different system, that's all. But more. That is through devotees, through scriptures. He is reciprocating even more. More than their desire. More things the Lord is giving. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Does the potency of the Lord's mercy change over time? Because we can see in the early days, when Srila Prabhupada was here, the mercy of the holy name was very, very potent. Even just chanting in the streets will attract so many people to come to the temple, to change their lifestyle. But it seems like now, even though Hare Krishna is so widely spread, when we go chanting on the street, it doesn't seem to have such a big, profound effect as it was back in that day. Maybe that was because Prabhupada was here during that time, but does the Lord's mercy change?
It's actually an important point to be considered. In this purport, very clearly it's mentioned that depending on the surrender, the Lord reciprocates. So can this principle have different effects at different point in time? If you think logically, it shouldn't have any difference because the Lord does reciprocate. It is mentioned, we have to see two sides to Prabhupada's time. Of course, Prabhupada's presence was so powerful that devotees did surrender to the instruction of Srila Prabhupada. I was going through some photos, old photos, archived photos, even last night, of Melbourne Rath Yatra and other things. It is just amazing. Say we have now one Rath cart. And I was seeing the same design in 70s, early 70s. The blue color and the swans and the green top part of the Rath cart. I was seeing that. And they didn't have one Rath cart. How many Rath cart they had? Yeah, more than one Rath cart, even that time. And we can see that the Rath cart is already sinking and tilting in one side. They didn't know how to make a proper Rath cart. It was all a bit of a problem. It was not properly engineered. But devotees did that. So we had to see in the presence of Srila Prabhupada, devotees did surrender. So that chanting or that service, yes, it is possible to have the same impact if you are more surrendered. That is the reality. But that time we can see the whole movement was much more surrendered in certain sense. If you see that we struggle to have one Rath cart, that time we may wonder how they brought this 3 Rath cart. And I was seeing the photos last night. I was thinking, how did they manage? And they didn't know anything about a Rath cart. Now we have, hundreds of Rath carts. We have different designs, and we can order. Someone is doing for us. And they didn't know what is a Rath cart. Even if you see this temple room, if you really think about it, they had never seen a temple in their life. So if you see this kind of a Rajasthani design, and they were going to the libraries to see a photo of a temple and how it is going to be the inside, and they couldn't get much out of it, because in Melbourne that time in 70s, there was not much there. And there were not many, there was no internet, no photos. So how did they come up with this? It's a miracle, actually, if you think about it. Even all these pillars, all this design, they actually look like a temple, and it looks like a proper temple in Rajasthani style. How is it possible? So there was presence of Prabhupada, and that invoked such a surrender, such a collective surrender, not just one devotee, the whole movement was surrendered. So there was a greater impact for sure. So the answer is yes, it is possible to have the same reciprocation of the Lord if there is surrender from us. And it has to be actually a collective surrender. It's not just, yes, one is of course powerful. If one person becomes a pure devotee, that is a huge thing. But I'm saying if there is a movement with a collective surrender, that is big. That is big actually. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yes, Mother, you can give the microphone.
If a devotee is coming from a town that's not so favorable to Krishna consciousness, even the congregation has resistance to preaching Krishna consciousness, but the devotee wants to fully surrender to Prabhupada and follow his instructions and carry out his orders, what should that devotee do?
Yeah.
Aside from leaving to go somewhere else, because it's important to preach in that location.
Exactly, very, very good point and very important point, because when the congregation is not fired up or if things are not happening, the general tendency is to leave the place. Right, wherever devotees want to be, wherever things are happening. So now, if you are in a place where things are not happening, then if we can show a very good example, that is very powerful. Okay. That is a very powerful, say, if the town or we had to choose one preaching program, we had to start something and do it so nicely. Say, for example, we may need a program for non-devotees to start with, because there not much preaching happening. So one program target towards them, at least once a week. And that makes a huge impact. And if there is a time on Harinam, like that, something we do with our capacity, and if we do that sincerely, Krishna will send people. It's amazing. Wherever preaching has taken place, many places it just started from one enthusiastic devotees. One enthusiastic devotee. So if we consider any preaching program anywhere, there can be now hundreds and hundreds of devotees, but everything generally started with just one person. That's enough. If one enthusiastic person is more than enough, you will find a difference. It's just a matter of time. We have seen that everywhere. Everywhere, actually. It is amazing. Even Melbourne also, I know. One devotee started a program, and that is making so many devotees. So that's how it is. The program that I came through a student program here. So I was coming along in 2003. I think Nityananda Prabhu would have started maybe a few years back. I was kind of in the beginning phase, I could say. Kind of beginning phase. And maybe one devotee, or maybe along with Prabhu, maybe one or two devotees were there. And they just started. And produces so many devotees. If you consider Bhakti Vriksha, in the recent, maybe 2005 or 6, Jagannath Ram Prabhu wanted to start Bhakti Vriksha. The concept was brought here. And then started a Bhakti Vriksha, and then one Bhakti Vriksha. It was only one Bhakti Vriksha. And from there, now so many Bhakti Vriksha went through, so many cycles of Bhakti Vriksha. If you see, hundreds of cycles happened here. So everything starts with one person, which is enough. And of course, one person means we are not the beginner. We are supported by all the devotees, our spiritual masters, Prabhupada, everyone. But I'm saying, if one has that enthusiasm, there will be a difference. So then we can be actually peaceful at heart. I'm doing my bit, and let's see what happens. That's it.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Anything else? Okay. Good to see you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. In line with Prabhu's question, I wanted to ask, when we're doing service with another devotee, do we get the mercy from them? Because sometimes we see in Sankirtan, when we're dancing with someone, we feel that spiritual bliss inside us. So is that because the person dancing with us is a pure devotee, or is just that, does it depend on our surrender?
Yeah, that's again a very interesting point. It actually depends on our surrender. Of course, the purer the person is in terms of chanting or dancing, it will have a more impact, that's for sure. But it also depends on our surrender. There can be drizzling rain or there can be torrential outpour. But it depends on how much are we collecting water, right? So if more we collect, we have more. So it goes both ways. The purer the chanting and dancing, there will be more impact. So Prabhupada's time is unique for sure, because that's why devotees were able to surrender so much. It's the power of Prabhupada, Prabhupada's bhakti. As Prabhupada says, it's like a lion. A lion goes to the forest, then there is an impact in the forest. All the animals are, oh, something is happening. Similarly, it is when Acharya is like a lion. When he comes and he preaches, all the sleeping souls are now getting up, waking up. So that impact is there, of course. At the same time, surrender. So because of Prabhupada, devotees were able to surrender. So here also, both ways. So if you ask about hearing and chanting, if you are very, very sincere, then even one who is chanting or dancing may not be so pure, still will get a lot of benefit. Just like the pastime of Bilamangal Thakur, Chintamani, she was a prostitute, she was not a pure devotee, but she told the right thing. She told the right thing. And that transformed Bilamangal Thakur. Because, of course, we had to understand he was coming from the Bhava platform of the previous lifetime. But that consciousness was evoked. Suddenly he left everything. So both ways is good. You can give to Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I was just curious, speaking back to the period of time when Prabhupada was here and how impactful the movement was and positively received. I was wondering if you think that in our lifetime we could see such a shift occur again and we could witness such an amazing thing.
Actually, we are getting quite a positive reception now also.
Yes.
We can go see in Harinam. You see how Harinam Rishi is doing the kirtan. It's been well received. Even Rath Yatra was well received.
Yes.
We are well received actually. But so many things are happening. So we are not unique. That's one issue, if you think about it. We are unique, but at the same time we are not unique. When you think about yoga or anything to do with Eastern culture, it's not something, it's not just something unique for anyone anymore. It's just a common thing, everything is available so much. So that disadvantage is there, but the advantage is we are more acceptable in the society. Even in the 70s, I was seeing the photo yesterday, how Kurma Prabhu being dragged by the police. He's like this and police carrying him, the leg and the head and everything. So we were not really acceptable in the society. Now we are well received. We get grants from the government. Government is supporting us. And so we are well received overall. Well, the only question is how can we be more impactful? That is our task. How can we be more relevant? That time we were very relevant because there were a lot of problems and we are presenting a positive alternative and it was like, oh wow, it's on the face, yeah, we can do something. Yesterday I saw the picture of Rath Yatra cart and the old double-decker bus. Probably Swami Maharaj was traveling around that bus. Hare Krishna movement, a positive alternative. It is something inspiring. It's on the face. So we had to think what can be on the face, where people think in a nice way, not in a bad way, on the face in a nice way. Yeah, there's something worth considering. So that time devotees were surrendered and they were very creative in bringing that in. So now it is our time to actually think how can we do it. So that is our responsibility. Something that can draw people. Oh, this is something fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल।